July 19, 2018. Table Rock Lake, Missouri. 6:30 in the evening. A converted World War II amphibious vehicle, painted red and white and marketed as Ride the Ducks, pulled out onto the water with 31 passengers and crew aboard. The National Weather Service had issued a severe thunderstorm warning for the lake 30 minutes earlier. The company owner had access to that alert. The captain had a radio. Neither pulled the boat back to shore. The storm hit within minutes. Wind speeds reached 73 miles an hour. Waves overtopped the low freeboard of the duck boat and flooded the engine compartment. No life vests. Policy ignored. 17 drowned. The Coles family from Indiana. The father, Butch, held on to his son Reese until he could not anymore. Both drowned. The tornado sirens on shore had been sounding for 10 minutes before the boat left the ramp. March 5, 1966. British Overseas Airways Flight 911. Tokyo Haneda Airport. Captain Bernard Dobson filed a routine flight plan to Hong Kong. Then he changed his mind. His passengers had asked for a closer view of Mount Fuji. Dobson diverted the Boeing 707 to fly directly over the mountain at low altitude. His chief pilot had circulated a memo 3 weeks earlier warning every BOAC captain that mountain wave turbulence over Fuji was severe enough to break aircraft apart in clear air. At 27,000 feet, the 707 flew into a rotor of clear air turbulence generated by winds crossing the peak. The vertical G-forces exceeded the aircraft's structural rating. The tail assembly separated first, then the outer wings. All 124 people on board were killed. The sky was cloudless. There was no storm. There was only a memo, 3 weeks old, sitting in every BOAC crew office in the world. February 4, 2006. Manila. The Philippine variety show, Wowowee, was celebrating its first anniversary with a live studio event. Host Willie Revelme had promised cash prizes to the first 30,000 attendees. Ultra Stadium was rated for a maximum crowd of 10,000. By 6 in the morning, roughly 70,000 people were pressed against the gates. Organizers had been warned by the venue's own security consultant for weeks. The consultant resigned 2 days before the show. He was replaced. When the gates opened, the crowd surged. Barricades collapsed. Bodies piled against the entrance in a crush that lasted less than a minute. 73 people were killed by compressive asphyxia, the same cause of death as every major stadium disaster of the last 50 years. Most of them were women. Most of them had lined up overnight in the hope of winning approximately $1,200. Their families received nothing. The game show aired the next day. Willie Revelme kept his job. Dawn breaks. Balloon ascends. Tourists gaze. The pilot, Mohammad Murad Ali Murad, had been briefed on a gas-fitting leak reported by ground crew the previous day. The repair had been logged as complete. It was not. At 300 feet, gas escaped from the burner assembly and ignited. The pilot faced a choice: land quickly and burn, or vent the balloon at altitude and fall. He chose to jump. He and one other passenger survived. 19 people were killed by the fall or the fire. The tourists came from 6 countries. Some were on the last day of their honeymoons. The pre-flight inspection log had been signed off 8 hours earlier by a mechanic who never touched the fitting. April 26, 1986, 1:23 in the morning. Reactor 4 at Chernobyl. Reactor control engineer Leonid Toptunov watched the power output crash to 30 megawatts. The manual said shut down and wait 24 hours for xenon to clear. Shift foreman Alexander Akimov cited the manual to Deputy Chief Engineer Anatoly Dyatlov. Dyatlov overruled him. 200 megawatts. Run the test. 4 minutes later, Akimov pressed AZ5, the emergency shutdown button. The control rods were tipped with graphite. For the first 3 seconds after that button was pressed, they accelerated the reaction instead of stopping it. The design flaw had been classified since 1983. Nobody in that room had been told. 31 dead in weeks. Long-term estimates range from 4,000 to more than 90,000. 8 RBMK reactors are still running today. Real-time warnings preceded 5 disasters. From within, every one of them was overridden by somebody with more rank. In every case, that rank came with no legal requirement to justify the override. And in every case, the override authority has never been removed. That is the pattern nobody sees. That is why the next one is not a question of if, it is a question of when. One rule stops all 5. Override safety warnings needs external authorization. In entertainment operations, wherever a documented written warning exists before an event begins, no single manager gets to unilaterally decide it does not matter. A second signature, an external review, a 24-hour hold. Any of those three would have saved every person in these 5 stories. That rule exists in no industrialized country today. It has been recommended after every disaster you just watched. None of the countries involved have implemented it. Not the United States, not the United Kingdom, not the Philippines, not Egypt, not Russia, because implementing it would slow down operations. Because the people who write the laws are the same people who benefit from the override. The same override systems that killed the people in these 5 disasters are hiding your data right now, collected without your knowledge, sold without your permission. NordVPN encrypts everything you do online so no system can override your privacy without you knowing. Link in the description. First 30 days free. 231 people died in these 5 moments. The systems that killed them are still running. Share this with someone who works in aviation, maritime, event management, or industrial operations. Someone who has already been told to continue. Subscribe to Hidden Forces. Every video exists to show you the systems designed to hide from you. Hidden Forces. Every disaster has one. The next crash is already being built.